Are we live? Yes, I think we are live, up and running. So Zig Ziglar said, the only thing worse than training employees and losing them is to not train them and keep them, right? So just repeating that, Zig Ziglar said, the only thing worse than training employees and losing them is to not train them and keep them. So hi y'all, thanks so much for joining and watching this video. Really appreciate your support. Please like and share this video if you get value from it. So in less than 15 minutes, I'm going to be sharing with you 10 benefits for training your employees, right? So I'm Dr. P. I'm a strategic business coach. I've been a school psychologist, served on professional organization committees, and teaching an online graduate psychology program, as well as serve as an advisor for our e-learning company. So when it's talking about experiences of training employees, I got a thing or two in terms of experiences for that, because I've worked in 4 different states and 3 countries, right? So just going through that onboarding process, that has been something I've experienced over the last couple of years. So some of us might be spending a ton of time, training ourselves and making sure that we have the skills that we need to do the many tasks we have to do as small business owners, right? But what about your employees, right? Even as a solo entrepreneur, you might be bringing in a temp hire every now and then to help you with certain tasks. As a micro business owner, you might have up to 9 employees, right? So what type of training do you provide to your employees? That's why in this video, I want to share with you the benefits, right? Not all, just 10 of them. And yes, there are more than 10 benefits, by the way, but I'm going to be sharing 10 benefits for why you should be training your employees, right? Because I remember when I started my first job, actually, like I was saying earlier, I remembered when I first started anywhere that I was going to be working, right? And there were some good experiences and there's some bad experiences. And I'm sure several of you can relate to having good experiences and bad experiences when you started in a new organization, in a new company, right? And when it comes to those good experiences, those things included training from my official first day. Those were organizations where I got the impressions where the supervisors wanted to help and support employees, right? So it was a good experience. But now for the bad experiences. Those included showing up on the day that I was told was going to be my official first day, and nobody was expecting me to show up. So even though my supervisor-to-be said to me, hey, that's your first day, so you show up, you go to this location, report to them, and you'll get XYZ. And I did that. But here's the thing, when I showed up, the person I was told to go talk to had no clue who I was, didn't know to be expecting me, had to be calling around trying to figure out what to do. HR, by the way, HR didn't even know I was starting on that day. They didn't know that my to-be supervisor had given me that day as a start day. And technology department really had no clue that I was even coming. Actually, they didn't even know that the department I was working with was hiring somebody. So no surprise, they had no technology available for me. And let me tell you, it took a couple, I would love to say hours, but it actually took, I believe, in one of those bad situations, about 3 weeks to really get on board with the technology I needed to use in that job. I'm not just talking about access to the laptop, but I'm talking about all of the systems that I was supposed to be using in that position, right? So didn't get any of those things. And even in the bad experiences, even when I did get those type of things up front, I didn't get training on how to use them. Because, and I'm sure several of you can relate to this, before you were your own business owner, you were working for people. Yes, you may have worked in more than one organization for a specific job title. Yeah, you know your stuff for your industry, but let's admit, every organization operates a little different. They have different policies, different procedures, so you do need that training to get you started, right? So let me also toss in this part. Even in the places where I had those good experiences at the beginning, it didn't always continue for the rest of the time it was there. There were some places where it did continue, and by that I mean they continue to offer training opportunities. They continue to find out what it was that I needed so that I could be successful, and gave me the training I needed to continue to be successful in those positions. Then there were other places where they started off really great with all of the training and support at the beginning with that whole onboarding process. But then weeks, months into it, that training just disappeared, and I was left to kind of fend for myself. And in some instances, I had to look outside the organization in order to get the training I needed so that I could continue to be effective in the position I had, right? And I know some of you might be saying, whoa, what? That means that you pull your own pocket just to get your training. And yes, I did. Why? Because it was necessary for me so that I could be effective. And I wasn't getting anywhere in the organization, right? Because I would ask and it would be all of this bureaucracy and politics about, oh, we don't know, maybe we're not sure if we could pay for it. And it was stuff I needed so that I could be effective and continue to be effective in the role I was having. So, like I said, good experiences, bad experiences, in the onboarding process. And by the way, the ones that started bad, there was no recovery from those ones. It wasn't as though months later they started offering training. No, it just continued to be so disorganized from the beginning all throughout my experience in those organizations. But like I said, in some good onboarding experiences, the training did not continue, and then in others it did. So there are some experiences that we all have, and I'm also hinting at those benefits of training your employees, right? There are tons of benefits for training your employees. And in organizations that offered a variety of training opportunities, those were great. Those were absolutely great because it meant that it wasn't just one place I had to look. You could do in person, you could do some online courses. So some organizations do offer a variety to match the needs that you have so that you could get the training that you needed. And it kind of reminds me of Zig Ziglar's comment that I said at the beginning of this video. And it is the only thing worse than training employees and losing them is to not train them and keep them. Because there are a lot of times where I saw some high turnover in places I went into, right? And when I talked to some people, just to find out kind of some of the reasons why people left, and it was because, some people wanted training, some people wanted that professional development, and they weren't getting it, so that's why they left. So, I completely agree with Zig Ziglar's comment. We have to continue to train employees so that we can keep them. Not that we're keeping them and not helping them to advance and improve. So when an organization is not providing the training that you need, right? Like I mentioned, you might have done like what I did and looked outside the organization just so you can get what you need so that you can be successful. But here's a catch though. Chances are the employee who's going to do that probably is going to end up leaving because they're going to end up, developing some skills, acquiring some skills and knowledge that they need to be effective, realize that you're not valuing them in your organization, and then they go someplace else where they feel they're going to be valued for the skill set they're bringing to the table. So just something for you to consider, But I understand that not everybody might have the budget as they might be thinking in terms to offer training, but there are different types of training that you can be offering to your employees. It's not necessarily some big $10,000 training, especially if you don't need a $10,000 training. But if you have the budget and that's a need for your organization, maybe that's what you need. At the end of it all, the trainings that you're providing shouldn't just be haphazard. It should be focused on what your employees actually need. So what are you doing for your employees anyways? You hired them because because you had specific needs in your business, right? That's why you hired them. You hired them because you had specific needs in your business and they had the skills and the knowledge you needed. But now they're on board. How are you helping them to maintain and even grow and develop their skills? That's just something to think about, right? We don't have to break the bank in order to help support our employees. Just want to make sure I emphasize that point. Chet Hyken said, training helps teach the vision and mission, but employees must put the training into action for it to have meaning. So as you're providing training to your employees, and you get to link it to the vision and mission, they get to really hear it multiple times, the vision and mission for your company, and then they get to go out and actually put it into action. Plus, by watching you put those things into action, it makes it even more concrete for them. So it gives them that added exposure. Andy Grove said there are only two ways a manager can impact an employee's output: motivation and training. So if you're not training, then you're neglecting half your job. That's what Andy Grove said. And when I think about these two quotes, plus the one from Zig Ziglar, I mean, I do get that sense of how important it is to train our employees. And I hope you do as well, because it really is important for our businesses. So by the way, if you are wanting to provide training to your employees, but you're not quite sure what you should be training them on, then I highly recommend you consider conducting a needs assessment. So at least you'll have a place to start, right? Don't just run out there and start buying up trainings, right? Actually be strategic in the trainings that you are actually going to be providing to your employees. So here are 10 benefits of training your employees. Number 1, if you have employees that have specific deficiencies in their performance, then by providing them with the necessary training would help to correct those performance discrepancies and help improve them. So you're improving them, and your organization is also benefiting from it. Number 2 is increase employee morale. So because it can help employees to feel valued and appreciated when you're actually providing them what they need so that they can be more efficient, effective in their business. Which brings me to number 3, increase employee effectiveness. Number 4 is reduction in employee turnover. Because like I was mentioning earlier, when you as an employee feel valued, you're more likely to stick around in an organization where you're feeling valued. So as a business owner, that can reduce your turnover if your employees are feeling valued. Number 5 is by providing employee trainings, it can also help with performance appraisals, and you should be doing performance appraisals in your business. Number 6 is maintaining skills and knowledge. Because yes, you hire them because they have specific training and skills and knowledge, but you want to make sure they're maintaining it as well so that they can continue to be effective in their jobs. Number 7 is uniformity in the work processes. Because how many times have you been in a situation where you walk in, there are 5 people in the department, and all 5 are doing the same process different? That makes sense. When you're expecting 5 employees to do one task, is what I really should say, but they're doing it 5 different ways. And if the organization, if your company has a particular process that you want the employees to follow, then you need to teach them that process. Because yes, there is diversity in how we approach things. That's true. But if there are certain things that need to be done in the process to accomplish certain tasks, certain procedures you want for your company, you need to be able to teach that to your employees. Number 8 is improves the organization structure and prevents the employees from learning from trial and error. Because you don't want it to be a situation where employees are feeling like they're being penalized, and then are reprimanded for doing certain things, especially if you never trained them on how to do those things in the first place. Number 9 is keeps employees current with the latest technology. As you provide training to your employees, you keep them current with the technology that they need so that they can be effective in their business. And number 10 is one of my favorites, and it creates opportunity for internal promotion or advancement. So you're retaining employees. So you're investing in them, and you're showing them that you value them. You're training them with the skills that they need that can help give them that promotion that they're looking for within your organization. So that is an ultimate benefit. And then it also helps with attracting high quality applicants as well for certain positions, especially when you got to replace that person you've promoted. So those are 10 benefits of training your employees. But like I said, before you go run out and start buying up courses and workshops and hiring people to come in and train your staff, you also need to ask yourself, do you need to be providing an in-house training, or should you be outsourcing that training? You really need to be strategic in how you are going about supporting your employees. There are pros and cons of each one of those approaches. The one that you pick will depend on the needs of your organization, right? And it depends on the skill needs that you have. So be sure to investigate, be strategic, and plan what it is that you need to accomplish in those trainings. I'm Dr. Priscilla Kusser with Priscilla Kusser Consulting Solutions. Remember, solutions plus actions equals results. Thanks, y'all.